it ran, kind of, a little bit, kind of sputtered. Been working on this thing for the last couple of hours. Didn't really feel like filming anything, mainly because it was 103 degrees today, and a lot of noise. Here's the mini bike. I went and greased the old bearings. They are shot. I am not going to try to replace them. They spin okay. So just to keep it as a roller. Engine, thankfully these studs, bolts that hold the muffler in did not break off, or the head, you know, these things breaking off. Went out just fine. I'm going to use one of these. Depending on how I'm going to route the exhaust. Right now, it won't fit. This bottom portion of the exhaust hits this. So I either have to extend it out further away from that, or turn it to the side like this. But I would prefer it to be, you know, close to the exhaust manifold as possible, so there's less stress, you know, with this moving around and stuff. I might go back and flip this upright where I had it before and leave it like that. The only problem is with this being hot, the bowl on the carburetor is going to be right next to the exhaust, this muffler bit. I'm just now putting it on the frame. It's now unison with the frame now. It's starting to look like a mini bike. All right. This is the first time this Briggs has ran in, I have no idea how long. We still have a balloon head gasket. We do not have an exhaust at all. It won't fit on there with the carburetor intake and intake manifold and stuff like that. So that would be a future thing to do, is to probably get an angle bracket or some kind of 35-degree piping for a screw-on muffler to fit on. But I'm eager to see this thing run and see if it's any good. I got 2-smoke gasoline in it right now, and the carburetor is a PZ19 carburetor. It's got an 80 size jet in it and a stock idle jet. All these parts, from the carburetor to the intake manifold and the gasket, are all donated from DIY Willie. Thank you, DIY Willie. Appreciate the donation. Let's see if this engine runs. I do have a throttle hooked up. It's kind of jank, but I'm pretty sure it's working. Yes, we got throttle. I'm gonna try without choke for a minute. It should be primed. I saw bubbles coming out of the fuel tank, so the fuel bowl must be full right now. Let's give it pulls and see what happens. I'm going to give it a little bit more throttle. Choke. This recoil needs to be fixed. I think it's trying to run. That sounds like a firing right there. As far as it goes. Somebody want to hold the throttle open? maybe that could be a mixture screw on the carburetor. Let's see, it's usually this guy right here. I'm sorry for the shaking. I'm so excited to see this thing run. I think it's usually all the way in, and then about, let's give it a half turn out. Give it a little bit of throttle. As wise it was not idling. I'm pretty sure those go all the way in and then back out just a few turns. So let's go all the way in, which is right there. Give it about a half turn right there, and then be generous. Let's go to a full turn. Now it's still taking a lot. I mean, this is all the way in right now for this idle screw right here. And that's just the idle screw. So that just raises the slide up and down inside the carburetor. Now that it's warmed up, it's probably going to be easier to start. Yeehaw! Oh man. Let's see, what have I done? I went and greased the front and rear bearings. The rears were pretty bad. The front was pretty good. That's usually what it is on these mini bikes, is the front has a lot less wear than the rear, because the rear has the most weight. And of course the power constantly being applied to it. I mounted the engine to the frame, of course, because in the last video I just had it on the ground and I had my foot on it, trying to get it to start. I've added the carburetor and the intake. Thank you for DIY Wheelie for donating those parts. Without him, this would be much longer to do, and I would be just guessing on Amazon or eBay on what to get. But thank you, this has worked. It seems to work just fine with a PZ19 carburetor. Now it's just in a stand right now. It's not being put on a load. It's not being put on long term. So that's for another day when I'm out riding this thing and see how long that will last with how much fuel is being drawn into the carburetor, into the head, and firing it out. I still have to make a exhaust flange, or make one out of like a pipe where it just has the threads coming out and then a little bit of a elbow, and then of course the screw-on muffler. Now it does look like I can use this muffler, but it does, this lip right here does interfere with this flange right here for the intake. So I will have to cut a groove in it right here in this area. And I might get away with that. That's how they stamp it in the factory. I don't think it's gonna like blow exhausts out of that. I'm not too sure. It's getting late. It's like 8:30 right now, and it's about time for things just to quiet down a bit. I want to say thank you for watching, and this is gonna be a pretty cool build, I think. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.